We have to protect our quarterbacks. Whether if you got Caleb Williams or Matthew Stafford, these guys need to be upright to help the team win as much as possible. So today we're going to be ranking the top 10 tackles in this year's upcoming draft class. Also, this is a relatively brand new channel, so if you enjoy, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the channel. At number 10 is Emory Jones, of course, out of the LSU Tigers, 6'6", 320. So great size already, but it just wasn't a great Senior Bowl weekend for Emory Jones. He might have been one of the biggest fallers as far as his draft stock throughout that weekend. But overall, I think his play strength is amazing. He plays very violent, and this is a guy that is a natural right tackle. So not necessarily a blind side on most teams, but hey, if the Dolphins want to grab him, that's a blindside tackle. This is a guy that only allowed one sack in this last season, and now is over 550 passing snaps. So the production's there, the strength is there, and the size is there. So I guess the tools are there. You just worry about how he stacks up with the other guys in this class. But overall, I think he's a day three guy. Anthony Belton coming out of NC State, a guy that has a huge frame at 6'6", 340. But honestly, when you look at him, he looks bigger than that. This is a guy that plays very violent and over 430 passing snaps this year for the Wolfpack. He only allowed 12 pressures and 3 sacks, which 12 pressures is a decent amount, I do want to say. But, of course, the talent around him wasn't necessarily the greatest. He does move really well to be a tackle. And this is something that you're going to hear a lot from draft analysts throughout the offseason. A lot of these guys have the versatility and the skill sets to play guard at the next level, most notably the guys at the very top of today's list. So he could move inside. I think that versatility is there, but naturally, I think he is a left tackle. And the only things I worry about, look, man, he's a penalty bug to him. But, with 8 penalties last year, he needs to bring his hands in, man. He has a tendency to have such wide hands in his pass pro that he gets outside these guys' numbers, these edge rushers, and that's led to a lot of holding calls this past season. So as long as he can clean up the technical stuff, he's going to be another day 2, day 3 guy as well. Ozzy Trapilo is next out of Boston College, and ladies and gentlemen, he is a massive human being with a 6'8", 310-pound frame. And obviously, you want to look immediately at the height. How is that going to benefit him, or I guess hurt him at the next level? Well, again, there's a lot of pros to being 6'8". It's led to his production being as crazy as it was. 0 penalties last season. He was a former first and second team All ACC in his collegiate career. I think he has very quick feet for being 6'8". And again, last year, only 2 sacks allowed. But the cons to being 6'8" at the next level, you're facing players that have elite speed and elite bend at the position, and they're going to be able to get under him and probably constantly, right? So, Ozzy Trapilo, you want to worry about the technical stuff going into the next level, being that tall, but it's worked before with other guys around the league. He needs to be in the right situation for some of these guys to, I guess, fine-tune his game. But overall, I think he has the tools to be a day 2 tackle. I'm banking on the upside with this one. Cameron Williams out of Texas, 6'5", 335. There was questions. Is he going to come back for an extra year, or was he going to declare? Obviously, some people got in his ear, and he is now in the NFL, the 2025 NFL Draft. This is a guy, again, I'm banking on the upside because all the tools are there. His play strength is there. He has long arms, quick feet at the tackle position. I think he gives you versatility to move him into guard as well with the 6'5", 335. It's not too incredibly tall and big for guard, so he can move inside. I'll say that. The cons you worry about with this guy is that last year on 500 passing snaps. Now, again, 560 passing snaps, so there's a lot a lot of tape there, a lot of plays there. He did allow 26 pressures and 5 sacks. That's a lot more than anybody on this list. And he also had, ladies and gentlemen, 16 penalties on his lonesome. I understand you're playing SEC competition. I understand you're playing the best of the best talent most times on any given week. But 16 penalties is outrageous, especially when we talk about a guy like Ozzy Trapilo, who just played 300 plus snaps and 0 penalties. Cameron Williams, the tools are there, but he needs to fine tune his game and stop causing penalties. One of the biggest risers over Senior Bowl weekend was Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota. Ideal frame and NFL size for the tackle position at the next level. I think he has long arms, moves well, as we saw at the Senior Bowl weekend. And the production is there as well, man. 420 passing snaps, nice. but only one sack allowed in that entire collegiate season. So the production's there, the size is there, the tools are there. And again, he played really well at Senior Bowl weekend. The things we worry about with him, his technique needs some fine tuning, which I think again he can fine tune that at the next level. There's a lot of great coaches, of course, in the NFL, and again these are things that are technical. They can figure this out by the time we head into preseason. But Ariante Ursary, the talent is there, and again, if you ask one person compared to the next, they might have this dude as a top 3 tackle based on potential alone. So I wouldn't be shocked if this dude goes anywhere in late round 1 to, I guess, anywhere from late day 2. Ariante Ursary, I'm excited to see where he goes, but the tools are there. A lot of the same can be said here about Armand Membou, and ladies and gentlemen, don't be shocked if he ends up as a top 10 pick here in just a couple weeks. I want to see how he tests at the combine, but last year, the production's there, and I will say this, the potential is there with him, but there are some things you want to worry about. At 6'3", 315, he has the size of a guard, but hey, that could also be a pro because this is a guy that could move inside or outside. So if you draft him, you kind of get a 2-for-1, and with all of his athletic tools, that's exciting for a guy like Armand Membou. There's a reason why guys like Daniel Jeremiah, experts in this business, have him as a top 10 pick in the draft. To me, I understand the potential, but I just think that there's other guys that are more polished. And for me, at the next level, when I'm drafting guys to protect my franchise quarterback, I want someone we know that we're going to get production out of day 1 and, of course, down the line. Armand Membou is number 51 on my top 50, right outside, but again, I've seen people have him as high as number 5 or 10. The only things I worry about with the guy, of course, he's a little bit undersized for the offensive tackle position, but again, I don't care about that. If you're 5'11", 300, and you can have the production of an all-pro player, then I don't care, right? You can play whatever position you want as long as the production is there. The things I worry about with him outside of his size is the fact that he has wide hands, right? And that's led to 4 penalties this past season. But again, those are technical things. He just needs to bring his hands inside on these, again, edges at the next level. And that's going to clean up a lot of its issues. So, Armand Membou, I see the potential, but I'm not there yet. Now, moving into my top 50, and I believe my top 4 tackles at least have a top 50 grade. But Josh Conerly, out of Oregon, 6'4", 305. I will say that his size, I think, gives you versatility at guard, just like Armand Membou. But this is a guy that is athletic, right? He played running back in high school. I don't know how he ended up growing into being 6'4", 305, but he played running back in high school, so obviously he moves very well. And honestly, I think with that stat alone, kind of tells you, hey, he can play guard at the next level. Imagine a former running back on a pool with the size and the strength that Josh Conerly has in today's game. But if you want to keep him at tackle, this is a guy that only allowed 1 sack on over 500 passing snaps last season. And again, you see it right there, 0.013 pressure rate on all of the passing snaps last season. So the pressure rate was close to 0. He only allowed 1 sack. He had a crazy productive season. The tools are there. You like that. And that's why I have him as a top 50 guy. The only things you worry about is he had a rough Senior Bowl weekend, but I'm not worried about that, right? I'm worried about what's actually happening on the field during the season, and Josh Conerly, to me, had a tremendous one. Josh Simmons, you want to bank on potential here, but also bounce back ability. At 6'5", 310, you love his size, right? Ideal NFL size. His arm length is there. And when he did play this season, before his ACL injury against Oregon early in the year, he only allowed 1 pressure and 0 sacks. This is a guy that his play strength is violent. He moves well. I think he's very smart. I think he might have the most potential at tackle in this class, potentially, right? But again, the tools are there. The only things you worry about is again, he got hurt. He tore his ACL. Is he going to be able to bounce back from that? I'm not sure if he's going to be at the combine, but I'm excited to see if he is. If not, the, again, Buckeyes camp that they're going to have a few weeks later. I want to see how he tests, right? But I also want to see where he goes in the draft based on this recent injury. But obviously, the production is there. The tools are there. How much are these teams going to weigh that injury? That's the biggest question with Josh Simmons. Formerly my tackle 1, but obviously I move these guys around a lot, and I could move them around last minute sometimes. But Kelvin Banks last year only allowed 1 sack, and he was awarded the best offensive tackle in the nation. I'm not sure the name of the award, so please forgive me in that aspect. But this year, first year in the SEC, he was first team All SEC. So shout out to Kelvin Banks for that. I think he does have a great build despite being 6'4", 320. Again, I think that gives you versatility. He can move inside the guard, but he's very quick, right? Whether if you want to play him at tackle or guard, he does have plus 33-inch arms, which again, arm length is ideal for the NFL level. And his play strength, man, he's violent. So I like everything that I see on tape from Kelvin Banks Jr. He was my tackle one up until about a week ago, which I made the change with number one. But honestly, if he's the first offensive lineman off the board, it would not shock me. The cons I worry about with him, 7 penalties last year, man. Now again, granted, insane volume, almost 540 passing snaps, and also the running snaps, right, as well. So close to over 900 plays. And this is a guy that only had 7 penalties. In the grand scheme of things, it's not bad, but again, you want to see those things cleaned up as we head into the NFL level. And with a top 10 grade, again, Kelvin Banks is right behind him in those rankings. But Will Campbell, a guy that at 6'6", 320 gives you more size, whether if you want to play him at tackle or a guard at the next level. He only allowed 2 sacks last year on over 550 passing snaps. And again, versatility at guard. Now, as a freshman at LSU, he was second team All SEC, but after that, he didn't slow down. He continued to dominate and, hey, technically get better. He was a back-to-back first team All SEC over the last 2 seasons. I think he's very smart. I think all the tools are there, the size is there. What you worry about, he has sub 33-inch arms, and I bring that number up because that typically is what these NFL GMs look at and say, does he have the arm length, enough arm length to play the tackle position at the next level? And again, that's just something that it's technical. Again, a guy like Penei Sewell came out a couple years ago, and he had sub 33-inch arms. And again, obviously, he's an all-pro. It hasn't bothered him. But for Will Campbell, he technically fits in that same category. Can he be as dominant as Penei Sewell? I don't know, right? But again, the potential is there. Also, like Kelvin Banks, 9 penalties last year for Will Campbell. Want to see that cleaned up. But this is a guy that can go as high, to me, as number 4 to the Patriots. So you expect his name to be called early on draft night, whether if it's to the Patriots or another team that might even trade up for him because of his versatility. But as of today, here is my top 10 with their grades going into this draft season. Again, the combine's coming up at the end of the month. I'm trying to get these positional videos out for you guys before that. But again, here's my top 10. 4 guys have a top 50 grade. And again, Will Campbell is inside the top 10. But that's it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Who are your favorite tackles in this class? Tomorrow, we jump to the defensive side of the football.